ahead and get started. As always, if there is anything your body needs, please feel free to take it regardless of what I say, but also you can post it in the chat if there's any specific areas you want to work on today. And yeah, welcome to Friday. Very exciting. We are going to start in bound angle pose in a reclined position. So we're going to place our feet together in this butterfly position and just lie down on our backs. I'll give you a few moments to settle here. I like to place my right hand on my belly and my left hand on my heart. Maybe tuck the chin to the chest and then press the head into the ground. And then when you untuck it, it'll create a little traction in your spine, pulling your head upwards a little bit towards the top of your mat. And breathe here. All right, I see a request for neck, shoulders. And please, thank you for the please. Absolutely, we can do some neck and shoulders. So deepen your breath here, feeling the breath fill the belly, and your right hand maybe rises with that breath. And then your left hand will rise as the breath expands into the chest, almost as if it's about to burst out the tops of your collarbones. And then we start to deflate slowly with the belly, and then feel that sink through the ribs as well, and the collarbones sinking. So taking a few three-part breaths here at your own pace, making sure we can feel the individual inflation of each part, starting with the belly, then the chest, then the collarbones, and then reverse order on the way down. Seeing how long we can keep these breaths. And just focusing on the sensation of each body part expanding. If we dedicate our minds to it, there's actually a whole lot to focus on here. But remember, as you focus, to keep the body soft. No tension is needed to focus. You can let the breath return to normal. And just let your body melt into the ground here. Today we're going to find the deep state of relaxation before we go through our gentle, deep stretching, and then we'll come back to a similar state of relaxation at the end. Keeping the breath nice and long here still, but mostly just focusing on the sensation of where your limbs meet the ground, feeling the support beneath you, noticing how without having to ask it to, the ground beneath us automatically supports us. If you want to set an intention for your practice today, you can go ahead and set that here. Someone shared, a wise friend shared a quote with me that resonated with me, so I will share that now if maybe you want to take part of this as your intention. But it goes, I hope you have the courage to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, from anything that fails to inspire your mind. I hope you have the courage to grow, to change, to do things differently than what is expected of you, to step back and seek out the kinds of things that ignite passion and excitement within your very bones. But most of all, I hope you have the courage to forgive yourself for all the times you did not have the courage to believe that you deserved more than the kind of life you are settling for. There's a lot within that one quote, so maybe break off a segment of that resonated with you, or set your own intention for your practice. And slowly you can roll onto one side, or maybe bring your knees into your chest and take a few spinal rocks forward and back. But wherever you are, we're going to gently make our way up to sitting. Finding this cross-legged position whenever you're ready. Rooting our hands down into our knees, so we place our hands facing downwards for grounding. Inhaling long here to find length in the spine, seeing if we can feel a little bit of stretch in that low back or mid back here, just by forcing some length into our spine with the breath. Take a deep inhale as we reach our arms towards the sky. And exhale, turning towards the right, placing our left hand on the right knee, right hand behind us, to take a gentle twist here from the seated position. Finding length as we inhale and twisting as we exhale. For those familiar faces of you who take this class weekly, you've probably heard me say this probably 200 times at this point. It's always a good reminder. Breathing here. Deep inhale for length. One last exhale to twist. On your next inhale, coming through center, arms towards the sky. And we'll take the pose on the opposite side whenever you're ready. So right hand meets left knee, left hand behind you to take this twist. I like to go ahead and twist to start. And then once I've settled into my twist to about where I think I'm going to be today, then from there, try this inhaling for length, exhaling to twist a few times. And even if I can't perceive any big movements here, there's always a little room left to grow taller or a little micro movement that we can twist here. Breathing in and out. Keeping the breath long throughout this practice. Lengthening for one more inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reaching back up towards the sky. And exhale, we're going to grab our left wrist with our right hand. And just bend towards the right, making sure to root our left hip into the ground to get the most out of this side body stretch. Opening our chest a little bit towards the sky under this left arm here, not caving in. Inhale, coming through center. Exhale, grabbing the right wrist, bending towards the right, or towards the left, excuse me, as we root this right hip into the ground. Opening your chest a little bit here, finding length in that side body. We're going to bring our hands back towards the sky, gently cactus them, and just take a tiny little back bend here, opening our chest towards the ceiling. If you're used to doing this standing, it's a whole different ball game sitting down here for how we have to balance our weight. And inhale, reach the arms back up. Exhale, clasp the hands behind the back. And bring your body towards the mat. You can reach your chin or your forehead towards the mat here. Chin will promote a little bit more length in the spine. Forehead will keep you from craning your neck so much. So take whatever your body needs today. Continue to wring those shoulders out, trying to bring them over your head. One more deep inhale here. Exhale, releasing any tension. And inhale to slowly come back up. Imagine someone's pulling our hands back to the mat. We can switch our feet here, so bring whatever foot was outside, inside, and vice versa. Inhale to open the chest, and exhale to fold here. If this is too much for you right now, you can just place your hands in front of you and walk them out in front. Or you can clasp your elbows. Or you can just sit rooted in this crisscross applesauce position. Remember, this is your practice. Wherever you are, one more deep inhale. And on the exhale, releasing any tension. And inhale to slowly roll it back up. We're going to straighten our legs out in front of us. Take a second to pull out any flesh from underneath your sits bones here. I'm going to keep my feet fist distance or hip distance apart today, so that's about 2 fists. You can keep them together or 2 fists distance apart. And inhale to find length within this staff pose here, maybe using your fingertips to gently pull your chest forward, opening it towards the sky a bit, letting that head find its natural balance point on top of the spine as if someone were pulling it with a rope towards the sky. And exhale, fold forward. And just let yourself hang here for 2 breaths. You can bend one knee and straighten the other within this pose. Sometimes I find that I'm not ready to come down, like right now, and do a cold forward fold here. I like to bend one knee and straighten the other just a little bit. And with our next inhale, we're going to come up to a flat back. And exhale to fold forward. Inhale, rolling up to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Taking a few more rounds of this with your own breath. One more round of breath here. And we're going to hold in this forward fold, reaching forward. Maybe noticing a slight difference from where we were before. Letting that head drop nice and heavy. We're going to grab the outside of the right foot or shin with our left hand. We're going to take a gentle twist here towards the right, gazing over the right shoulder. We can grab anywhere on this right leg here, wherever we need, so that we can open the chest and twist it. So if I'm trying to grab my foot, but I'm sacrificing here, I can't find a whole lot of twist here. So I want to step back from that to allow my body to find its full length here. Remember that there's no way your body is supposed to look at any of these poses. These are all just suggestions, but not a template for you to overlay onto what you think you should look like. Know that where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be right now in this moment. Exhale to twist a little bit deeper with your next exhale. And slowly release, coming back to a forward fold as we drop that leg, and then grabbing the left foot with our right hand to come to a twist in the opposite direction, opening that left hand towards the back, twisting over that left shoulder, knowing that just because we did something on the other side doesn't mean it might happen here, and that is okay. Our asymmetry is part of what makes us beautiful creatures. Inhale to lengthen here. Exhale to twist. And slowly dropping that leg back down. Finding a forward fold here just for 2 breaths. Letting your body hang heavy. And slowly rolling your spine up 1 vertebrae at a time, nice and slowly, to find the staff position again. And when we find this position, we can roll our shoulders back a few times, keeping the chest nice and open. One more time. And then we're going to take our legs into a straddle. We're not going where we normally go here, so bear with me. We have a request for shoulders, and so I'm going to show you my favorite shoulder stretch, which is a little out there, but it is wonderful. So we're going to place our hands on our low back or on our side body. Okay, so as long as my hands are at least, behind this meridian line of my torso, and I'm going to bring my legs to a bent leg position, and I'm going to hook my elbow inside my knee on one side, and then inside my knee on the other side. You can take this one side at a time if you want, if you're like, I do not think so. But then when you get your legs on the outside of your shoulders, then go ahead and bring your knees as much as you can together. What you're going to feel is the stretch through these deep rotator cuff muscles of your shoulder, all the way down to those tendons here. Remembering to breathe. Maybe playing with a little bit of movement in your legs, seeing if you can bring them a little bit closer together than you might realize. I reach a point where it feels like my shoulders are going to rip out of my body, so if I'm there, I'm going to ease back a little bit. For 3 more breaths. And slowly release. We can straighten our legs back into the straddle. And we can reach our arms up. And we're just going to stretch the side body again, stretching this left hand over to the right side. I'm keeping my elbow on the ground in line with my hips. And inhale, coming back up. Exhale, stretching over to the left with your right arm above you. Inhale, coming up, turning your torso to face this right leg, and exhaling to stretch down over this right leg, pressing your left hip and glute into the ground here. Finding that stretch through the low back here. Reaching your chin to your shin, finding length within this stretch. Or if you're all the way up here, we can just try and pretend like a rope is pulling our chest down and find a lot of stretch here wherever you are. We don't need to be down here to feel a stretch. Staying at whatever depth you are, walk your hands through center and come over to the left side, taking a second here, maybe coming a little bit higher to square your chest, and then exhale, stretching forward and down. Reaching that chin to that shin, whether it's close or whether you're far away, you can still reach the chin to the shin to find length through your spine. Feeling your breath rise and fall on the top of this left thigh. And walking through center, just taking a few breaths here. If you're all the way up here, that is fine. If this stretch is really hard for you, I'd suggest placing a block or a book underneath your butt, which will help tip your hips forward and allow you to lean forward a bit more. But wherever you are, just lean forward, making sure your toes still point towards the sky. You can walk your hands out in front of you. Just 2 more breaths here. And slowly walk your hands back up, and we will get out of the straddle position now. So you can bring your hands together, or your hands to bring your legs together. And we're gonna come up into a kneeling position. We're gonna keep our toes tucked underneath us and come so our hips are over our knees. We're gonna place our hands on the low back, just taking a little camel pose here. And then maybe dropping the head here and seeing how that feels. Sometimes this feels amazing on my neck, others days, not so much, and that is okay. Not all of these poses have to serve us in the same way all the time. Opening the chest, imagining bringing your shoulders together via bringing your elbows together behind your back here. For 3, 2, 1, slowly coming back up to this position. We're going to bring our knees together, keep our toes so that all 10 toes are on the ground, and then sit back on our heels, stretching out this fascia of the foot. Then we're going to take a few neck stretches here, so I'll turn to face you, but you stay on those toes. We can bring our neck over to the right by bringing the right ear like it's listening to the right shoulder. And then we can bring our right hand on the left side of the head, just resting it here to enhance this left-sided neck stretch. And if we want a little bit more, we can bring our left hand away from us, maybe drawing little circles or figure eights with it, to see how that stretch changes based on the movement of that left arm. Keeping your jaw nice and relaxed here. Maybe instead of focusing on whatever pain or tension you might feel, focusing on the amazing interconnectedness of our body and how mystical it is that when we move this left hand, that this stretch changes for us. And slowly releasing whenever you're ready. And we can bring our left ear to listen to our left shoulder, and then place that left hand on the right side of the head, just letting the weight of this arm and hand do the work here, so definitely not pulling down. Keeping your head in line with your shoulders, so not letting it fall forward, and whenever you're ready, we can start to move this right arm a little bit, engaging it like we're palming something, pushing something away from us, and that engagement is where we might find a little bit extra stretch. I know our toes are still there. We're almost out of it, I promise. For 3, 2, 1, coming back up to center. We'll lean forward. We can tap our toes on the ground a little bit here to remind them that we realize that they were just working hard for us. And we'll sit back with our big toe mounds pressing into the ground here. So the tops of our feet into the ground. So taking a stretch of the front calf here, or the shins. And we'll take our hands behind our head and just gently let the weight of these hands behind the head help stretch the back of the neck here. Keeping the rest of our torso engaged and straightened, so not necessarily curving over here, because we're going to rob ourselves of that stretch. But keeping a nice straight spine, just letting the bend occur in the cervical spine here. Maybe you can invite a tiny bit of side-to-side motion here. Keep your chin tucked to your chest, release your hands, and then make half circles here, listening to your right shoulder, and then chin to chest, and then listen to your left shoulder. A few more times here, each direction. And then just looking up and down. If you like to take full neck rolls, you can take those here, but a lot of us adults have had some sort of neck problem at this point to where taking full neck circles can be a little dicey for us. So I prefer to do the half and then just the up and down. And then finish looking right to left. Feels like a very simple practice, but it's something if we neglect to do, then some days we try and look one direction and our head doesn't really go as far as we remember it going. So it's an important thing to remember. Bringing that head back to neutral, bringing your hands to the mat, coming to a tabletop position. Finding this nice tabletop here, so energizing your hands to press away from the floor. You can tuck your toes here if you want to make this a little bit more energetic, a little more passive. I like to keep my tops of my feet on the ground. And just drop your belly, and we're going to take a few cat-cows here, opening the chest forward, feeling that stretch through that lower back. And then exhale, curving the crown of the head in towards the sacrum, trying to create a circle with our body here, pressing that space between the shoulder blades away from us. Flowing through with your own breath here a few times. Maybe adding a little bit of side-to-side movement in with this. What I've heard some people call disco kitty, which I kind of like. Maybe adding a little bit of front to back movement. Perhaps closing your eyes just so you can focus on the sensation of each vertebrae folding at a time and then unfolding or arching. Not having to worry about what you might look like. And slowly, we're going to bring our forearms to the mat. And then we're gonna prepare for puppy pose here. So we're going to keep our hips over our knees, and we're gonna walk our hands all the way out and try and bring our chin and our chest to the ground, finding arch in the low back and space in the shoulders here. So I'm gonna slide out. My chin meets the mat, but my chest doesn't, but I'm trying to press my chest into the ground while I open up my shoulders. Making sure that your butt stays over those knees. You can come onto your fingertips here if you want a little bit of extra stretch. Breathing here for 3, 2, 1, bringing your forearms to the ground, and then just pressing your chest forward, coming into Sphinx pose. So we're going to bring our feet together, engage our heels together like we're Dorothy trying to click our ruby shoes together here. And we're going to place our shoulders and elbows in one line, actively pull back with your shoulders to open your chest, almost as if someone were pulling a string attached to your chest, trying to pull it forward. Press your low back or your hips into the ground, stretching the low back here. Creating a little internal tension as we try and open the chest while we press our hips into the ground, while we keep our heels together. Not craning the neck here, just imagining it as the natural extension of your spine. Breathing here. Maybe you can take a few shoulder rolls here. One direction and then the other. You can take a few cat-cows here if you want. So push your body up towards the sky and then arch and pull it forward. Two more breaths wherever you are. And we're going to ease our body all the way down to the mat. We'll bring our right cheek to the mat to start. And cactus your right arm, make a goalpost with it, pressing it into the mat. And then we're going to roll our body towards the right by pressing through the left hand. So my right arm is cactus, my right cheek is to the ground, gazing to the left. I'm going to push through my left hand to roll my body up onto this right shoulder, opening up the right shoulder and chest here. You can keep your legs stacked on top of each other or bring that left leg behind you to engage with a bit of a twist here, maybe deepening the stretch. Breathing into it. Two more breaths here. And slowly coming back through center, planting your left arm in a goalpost position, switching to your left cheek on the ground, gazing to the right. Push through your right hand to roll up onto your left shoulder, pressing that left shoulder into the ground here. This might be enough for you, or you can take that left or that right leg behind you for a little bit of a twist and maybe a little bit of an extra stretch. Just make sure you're really trying to press that left shoulder into the ground. This is a great stretch you can do on the floor, or you can do this against a wall with a straight arm or a goal-posted arm. But to undo, a lot of our shoulders kind of shift forward as we're sitting, curving over some electronic device all day. And this is a great way to open up the front body to find a little bit more expansiveness and undo some of that workday motion. One more breath here. And slowly coming back down to the mat. And you can just let yourself rest for a second here, placing either cheek you want into the ground. Just let your body sink into the mat. Laying on your stomach is a great way to reconnect with your breath, because we feel the physics of it here, rising and falling, as we notice those changes in our whole body as we're laying on our stomach. We're going to take one final back bend here. So place your hands underneath your shoulders. If you have low back issues or hesitations, you can take Sphinx pose again. That is a low back opener. We're gonna take a little cobra here. So I would invite you to keep your elbows bent in towards your body. It might be a little bit more tricep activation than you were bargaining for right now. But we can stay nice and low, or we can lift up a little bit here. And I think, especially when you're coming into your first cobra of the day, come into sort of a preliminary posture, see how you're feeling, check in with those hips. Are they starting to come off the ground? If so, ease back down. And then you can go ahead and straighten your arms if that's in your practice. Keeping them rotated so that the triceps are hugging the ribs. And maybe gently gazing over one shoulder and then the other. Still working that neck mobility a bit here. Maybe trying to look up and down. Maybe making those half circles with your neck here. Two more breaths wherever you are. And slowly drop your chest back to the ground, coming on to that opposite cheek from where you took off. Letting that body rest once again, tapping into the rise and fall of your whole body here with your breath. You can maybe bring the soles of your feet up to face the sky and just windshield wiper your legs back and forth. Finding a little ease in the hips and low back here with this nice gentle twist. And we can come through a fetal position here to find our way onto our back, or we can just roll over, depending on how particular you are about the orientation of your mat. I'm slightly particular, so I'm switching. So we're going to come onto the mat here, laying on your back, keeping the soles of your feet into the ground, knees towards the sky. And just take a gentle bridge pose here so we can push up and we can stay right here. If we want to make this completely restorative, we can place a block, a pillow, or a book underneath our hips here to hold us up. We can also just press those hips towards the sky, not working too much of our body here to bring us out of this state of relaxation. Just a little bit of a counter stretch for those forward folds we were doing. I like to think of a bit neutralizing between a forward fold and a back bend. Exhale, bringing it back to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe drawing a few circles in one direction with your knees. And then the other, just using this as sort of a little bit of self-massage for your sacrum and low back region, as well as a way to just loosen up those hip flexors and rotators that really like to just hold on and grab tension. We can pull our knees out wide towards each shoulder. And let's bring our left foot back down to the mat. Keep your right knee into your shoulder. And then grab the outside of your right foot, coming into a single-sided happy baby here. So I'm pulling my right leg towards the ground, trying to imagine laying the top of this right thigh into the ground here. Same sensation as happy baby, but just getting to focus a little bit on one leg at a time. I think it's a great way to work on our happy baby. And this left foot being planted into the ground helps to keep our full back onto the ground, which is the main way we cheat ourselves of our happy baby, is by letting the hips drift up towards the sky. One more breath here. Maybe straighten and bend your leg a few times. And slowly bring it back to the mat. Lifting your left leg up. Pulling it towards the mat on the left side of your body. Keeping your hips squared towards the sky. Really trying to press through your right hip bone, trying to imagine that meeting the ground. You can sort of press through the top of that thigh here if you want a little bit more traction. But really trying to imagine that, which will engage this cross body twist element that's normally not present in a happy baby. Breathing, maybe pulling that knee down a little bit closer to the ground. Maybe straightening and bending that left leg. And then lift your right leg up to meet your right hand and taking a full happy baby pose here. Comparing the sensation, tapping into a little bit of play here, letting ourselves have some fun, maybe rocking side to side. Maybe straighten one knee to go to the right side, and then straighten the left to go back to the left. And whenever you're ready, we'll bring the knees back into the chest, tucking ourselves into a ball shape here. Tensing our whole body to hold as tight of a ball as we can. Trying to engage every muscle group, maybe starting to cramp in your low body like I am, and then exhale, release, opening your whole body to the mat, releasing all those muscles that we were just tensing. If you'd like, you can cross your arms over your shoulders or over your chest here, sort of like in a mummy position. And then just place your hands on the tops of your shoulders and just take a little self-massage here. So just massaging your neck and your shoulders. Just helping yourself ease some of this tension away. You can stay here if this feels good to you, maybe moving up the neck, or whenever you're ready, let your arms rest out wide, coming into Shavasana. Finding stillness and softness throughout the whole body. Quickly scanning, starting at our toes to our ankles, up our calves and shins to our knees, moving up the thighs, into the hips, across the stomach, up the rib cage, each rib at a time, all the way up into the chest, to the collarbones, flowing out the arms, to the shoulder, to the elbows, to the wrists, to the fingertips. And then scanning all the way up to the top of your head, from your neck into your jaw, the back of your neck, your ears, your cheekbones, the space behind your eyes, in between your eyebrows, your forehead, noting the sensation of your scalp, and then just sink into the mat, making sure if you noted any tension in that body scan, using your breath to release and cool that tension. You can take some time here to revisit your intention that you might have set for your practice today, or maybe just focus on your breath on the cool sensation of your nostrils as you breathe in and the warm sensation as you breathe out. Finding relaxation and stillness, knowing that right now in this moment there is nowhere you need to be except right here. Whenever you're ready, we can start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, inviting a little bit of movement back into our body. Maybe rotating the wrists and the ankles. As you're ready, roll on to your right side, using your shoulder as a pillow. And then slowly finding your way to sitting. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana, you are welcome to. If you're finding your way to sitting, keep your eyes gently closed, placing your hands at heart center. Taking a second to cultivate a sense of gratitude for your body, for this time that you have spent loving up on yourself, for this day, for anything else in your life that you want to send some gratitude towards right now. Knowing that no matter where we go or what we do, we can come back to this place of groundedness and rootedness. Take a deep breath in, bringing your hands to your third eye center in between your eyebrows. Exhale, folding forward. Never forgetting that you are precious, beloved, and beautiful to behold. Namaste. Thank you for practicing, everyone. I went a little over, just so you know, so if you do have somewhere to be, it is 6:19. But I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And happy Friday. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Harrison.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Yes, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You too.
Take care.